Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to the 10th episode of Nerd Out Sanctuary. Yeah, the Why I Love episode that I just put out. That is not a Nerd Out Sanctuary episode. That's just something bonus, something extra that I want to do and I want to keep doing on this show, on this channel, whatever. Yeah, back on just regular episode of a Nerd Out Sanctuary. Regular episode. We're gonna be talking a movie, a TV show, and a documentary today. So get excited. This might be, I don't know how good this episode's gonna be because I don't know. Rereading my notes, I'm just like, maybe these notes are kind of shit. They're kind of bad. So I don't know if I'm gonna be really referencing them too much. So I might just be going off a stream of consciousness and just giving you my unfiltered opinions and shit. So we'll see how this goes. But just couple updates. I'm gonna be going my job. I work in construction, so work is starting to really pick up now, and I'm going on night shift for the next 3 weeks. So I don't know how free I'm gonna be to do another one of these. I'm gonna try to maybe put one out while I'm on night shift. I mean, that might. If you've ever been on night shift, you know how much it fucking sucks and how much it just completely fucks your entire life up, pretty much. Like it doesn't only fuck up your sleep schedule. It fucks up your like eating schedule. Like I just end up pretty much eating a meal a day because it's like as soon as you get up, you have to like make dinner pretty much as soon as you get up. And it's weird. It's a weird experience if you've never had to go on night shift. Got my energy thing going here. Gotta keep myself energized through this bullshit. You know? I'm gonna be drinking a lot of these, so hopefully I have a heart attack and die. So I don't have to go on night shift again. Huh? Yeah, it's not a joking manner, Michael. Better yourself. Maybe work out a little bit more, you fat fuck. But anyway, so yeah, it's gonna be a little bit hard, so just kind of stay with me. I mean, I'm not gonna if I'm just not on YouTube or don't upload a fucking like a podcast in like a month, I'm still here. I'm still gonna be doing this. It's just it takes a lot. It's gonna take a lot more time to do it because I'm gonna have less and less time. And when you're working in construction, you're working long shifts pretty much every fucking day of the week. They get laid off in the winter. They don't work in the winter because it's really cold and it's snowing, and a lot of stuff is very temperature controlled as what they do on construction sites. And when they're building, pouring concrete and all that bullshit, like it has to be at a certain temperature. Temperature matters because it's a chemical reaction and everything. But yeah, so they get laid off in the winter and then they bust their ass in the summer. And time is money. So yeah, they're working a lot, and it's gonna be really hard for me to really get the motivation to like come back from a 12-hour night shift or a 10-hour day shift and record. But I mean, I'm gonna try. I'm definitely gonna be trying to do it because I love this. I love all you guys who are watching, and so yeah. I hope you guys stick around. I hope you guys stick with me. I might not actually record an episode, like video record an episode. I might just like audio record an episode and upload it to, wherever you get my podcasts from. If you don't know, it's Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. And also I'm on YouTube as well, but it's sporadic. It's going to be sporadic on YouTube. So I might just do like audio recordings because those are a lot easier. I don't have to edit a video, which is it takes a lot more time for me. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I other than that, I don't know what else to say other than, these might be even sparser than usual. So hopefully I can really stick with it. I'm probably going to guess not. Like, I'm going to be sticking with this in the long haul. I'm always going to be doing this because I find this really fun, and I love talking about movies and TV and video games and all that shit. But, I mean, the dude's got to make money. I'm not making money off of this shit, so I have to make money somehow. So that's what I'm doing. And, whether I'm using my degree that I graduated with or not, probably no. No, I don't really do that. I just deal with difficult contractors all day, which is a great time. But, yeah. again, some new stuff. I'm recording this in the daylight, so hopefully there's a little bit more light coming in. Hopefully it's you guys like that. It might look weird. I don't know. I would love some feedback, whether or not it's, dark, or, if you want me to keep recording at night, or if it's okay during the day. If I do record an episode, it's going to have to be at night in the next coming weeks, because I'm going to be working during the night. But, yeah. So, hopefully, it doesn't look terrible. It might, but you guys are just coming here for my voice and my amazing opinions. Duh. Why else are you here? To look at this face? Probably not. I don't even like looking at my face. All right. I'm so weird. Why am I doing this? Why am I putting you people through this? Okay, whatever. Let's just get into this Nerd Out Sanctuary episode. So, the first thing I'm going to be talking about is a TV show that, I don't know, it didn't recently come out. I mean, it came out like a couple weeks ago. I finished it like a week and a half ago. It's called Hunters. It's the Amazon Prime original series that came out recently, called Hunters, with Al Pacino, Logan Lerman, about them hunting Nazis. I wanted to watch it because, one, I promised I would check it out when I talked about Amazon Prime back in my second Nerd Out Sanctuary episode. Those really poor quality episodes, those terrible ones that have awful audio quality because I'm an idiot. Yeah, those ones. But, I talked about The Expanse and The Boys and how Prime's killing it. And again, if you haven't checked out The Expanse or The Boys, check them out. They're both amazing, and they're both a lot better than the show. But before I get into my opinions about the show, I promised I would check it out. And also, I watched the trailer, and I was like, this looks good. I love Al Pacino. They're hunting Nazis. Who doesn't want to kill Nazis? I mean, come on now. They're the pinnacle of bad guys. So, yeah, there's that. And I don't know. It looked like it was really good quality. It was going to be a really good show. Really good, awesome, I don't know, Nazi killing show. I'm not really Nazi killing, but it just looked good. I mean, especially when you get into talent like Al Pacino, especially at the point of his career, when he gets very he probably definitely wants to choose good projects to do because he's older. Without saying, he's older. So, yeah. If you don't know anything about Hunters, like I said, it's, Al Pacino, stars Al Pacino, Logan Lerman, a couple other people that you may or may not recognize. It takes place in 1977 New York City. A troubled young Jewish man bent on revenge is taken in by a secret group of Nazi hunters fighting a clandestine war against the cabal of high-ranking Nazi officials in hiding who work to create the Fourth Reich. Yeah, so all these Nazis are trying to create the Fourth Reich, and these band of misfits, come and band together to, I guess, try to hunt them down and kill them. Basically, that's the show. And the young troubled young Jewish man is played by Logan Lerman, and gets taken in by this character called Meyer, played by Al Pacino, who is definitely the best part of the show, by the way. For sure the best part of the show. He's always good. Al Pacino's always good in everything that he does. Like I said, I'm not really going to be reading from, trying to reference my notes too much, but, sometimes I just have to. But, yeah. So, generally, the acting in the show is generally pretty good. As Al Pacino, he does well. Logan Lerman's just fine. He's kind of fine. I never really liked his character too much. He was kind of boring a little bit. They're trying to portray him as this absolute genius, but then he also makes some pretty stupid, illogical decisions, which is dude, you probably should have just killed the guy right there. What are you doing? You're an idiot. He makes some pretty stupid mistakes. That's kind of a problem. Some of the problems with the show. It's also kind of with that the FBI agent. Millie in the show, she's played by, what's her name? I'm sorry. But yeah, the FBI agent, Jerrica Hinton, who does a great job, by the way. Anyway, but again, her character, she's supposed to be a really smart up and coming FBI agent, and she also makes some stupid decisions. It's what are you doing? Clearly there's Nazis. Clearly they're hunting them. Why are we still trying to arrest these guys? Whoops, just got another notification on my fucking laptop. Leave me the fuck alone. Fuck. Can't you see I'm recording a podcast? Damn. But anyway, so yeah. Generally the acting is pretty good. Yeah. Jerica Asmilli, she does well. It's just her character didn't really like it. Didn't really like her character. She kind of irritated me a bit. Again, with Logan Lerman's character, also kind of irritated me a bit. Incredibly OP as well. He just like looks at some shit and he figures everything out, and it's like, okay, all right, so you're a genius. All right, you're a really smart kid from New York. Gotcha, sweet. There's nothing wrong with you, I guess, other than I guess your grandma got shot by a Nazi. That's spoiler alert. Shouldn't have spoiled. Spoiler alert. I mean, it happens in the first episode. So, I mean, I will say. Sorry, I'm sniffing a lot. Oh, geez. Got the coronavirus, guys. No. So, hope you guys are doing well with all of that. Everything's kind of shutting down. So, hopefully, be careful out there. Hand sanitizer, wash your hands, all that jazz. Stay home if you're sick, all that bullshit. But anyway, getting back to the actual show, we don't want to deal with real life problems. This is why we watch this shit, so we can escape. Shut up, Mike, with all your real life bullshit. Anyway, yeah, moving on. The first episode of this show of Hunters is amazing. It really hooks you. It's incredibly well. It's really intense. It's dramatic. You get introduced to Logan Lerman as Jonah. You get introduced to Meyer, Al Pacino as Meyer, and then it's like, okay, I'm in. Like, this is cool. This is really good. I like this a lot. It's a really good first episode. And then it keeps going. And then the future episodes kind of really, really detract from it over time. I mean, I'm not here to shit on the show, because I think a lot of people would want me to, or would like to see this show get shit on, because there is a lot of heavy-handed political messaging and stuff that's really kind of just drive down your throat throughout the show. We'll be getting into that. But yeah, let's still stick with the acting and the actors. The guys who play the villains in this, the Nazis, the guy who plays Travis, he's played by a dude, what's his name? Greg Austin. He does an incredible job. I thought Travis was really menacing, very effective character, very effective antagonist, very intimidating. He reminded me of that one bounty hunter from Firefly. If you've ever seen Firefly, at the last episode of Firefly that we actually have, that bounty hunter shows up. I forget his name, but he'd always before he does something terrible to someone, he would always spout off some really fucked up fact that somewhat relates to the situation. And that's kind of what Travis really reminded me of. I like that a lot. So anytime I can talk about Firefly, I'm going to talk about Firefly, by the way. It's a great show. Still pissed off that it got canceled. But yeah, so I thought, again, the villain's really great. Dylan Baker did a great job as Biff, as this other Nazi in hiding. Again, probably the best moment of the show he's in, with that cookout scene. It's the best scene in the entire show, and it's in the very first episode. It's part of the reason why the first episode is so good. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, I gotta stay energized, guys, and hydrated. But yeah, so yeah, the acting is generally really good. But getting to really my criticisms with the show. First episode, really dramatic, serious, intense, really great, setting up the series. And then the second episode, they do this weird thing with introducing the characters, and it's some WWE fucking fight video game, Quentin Tarantino ass bullshit introduction to all these hunter characters, the gang, and it's just so out of left field. It just doesn't feel in place. You're having all these flashbacks to Auschwitz, the Holocaust, and it's like they're really portrayed as really fucked up shit that I mean, again, I don't think it's any of it is real. Again, I heard a criticism where it's like, oh, they don't use real Holocaust stories. Like, shut up. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a fictional story. They're just using the Holocaust as a vehicle to drive their story, which I'm totally fine with them coming up with stories about the Holocaust that, are linked to the backstories of our main characters. I'm totally fine with that. But, like, you have all those really serious moments, those serious-ass scenes that are really like, holy shit, that's really fucked up. And then you have these weird-ass, like, comic book movie type of, not comic book movie, that's a wrong word, but, like, weird, like, switch in tone that's, like, comedic and satiristic, and just kind of, like, with heavy-handed, like, political messaging, like, infomercials that, I guess, like, bring up, like, Nazis in America. It's like, oh, as it's like a good thing. It's ironic. It's an ironic infomercial, just trying to, like, basically, there's all these, like, shit that I care about of, like, these characters, and then they always, like, come in with, like, a jab at the United States. They're just like, yeah, just so you know, yeah, America sucks, pretty much. It's not, I mean, that's probably not exactly what they were going for, but that's kind of what I get out of it when I'm watching it. And, like, I'm not a heavily conservative person, and I'm not gonna, if you hear any random noises, I think there's construction going on, and it's also during the day, and I think someone's doing some shit out in the hallway too. So if you hear that, I'm pretty sure my mic's pretty good, so I think it's gonna block that out. But I mean, I hear it, so yeah. Oh, sorry, I think that was a bus. I'm sorry, guys. Again, this is kind of a low production, by the way. I mean, it's just me, dude. Got dudes and dudettes. It's just me who's producing all this bullshit. But anyway, back to Hunters. And so yeah, very, like, there's this other shit, like, and there's, like, weird ass infomercials, commercials that legitimately say that white people are bad. I mean, they kind of just like, oh no, maybe not all white people are bad, but they are, though, which is, it's very weird, and it kind of makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm not offended by it. Like, I get it. I get satire. I understand that, it's kind of supposed to be taken as a joke, but it's also kind of like, you could kind of try to, I don't know, make it a little bit less, like, I don't know, obvious. Like, there's also a point in the show where it's like this weird segue into a game show with a bunch of white people saying, like why, like, things about Jewish people, like, and they're all negative, and then, like, the game show host just, like, turns to the audience, like, us, the viewers, and it's like, do you feel this way? And it's like a pan on, like, the game show host. It's so weird. And it's so mind-boggling, because it's like, I don't want to, like, this stuff is stupid to me. Like, it's just like, you have all these interesting characters, and they sort of delve into them a little bit. Like, you kind of get some backstory to the nun character. But, like, not really. You don't really understand what any of their motivations are for, like, hunting Nazis. I mean, I get it. You want to hunt Nazis down because they're awful people and they're trying to start a Fourth Reich. I get that. But, like, what made them join this thing? Like, I would love to see how Al Pacino's character, discovered all of them. Like, make episodes sort of pseudo-dedicated to each one of these characters. I don't want to compare it to another show that came out last year, but Watchmen, I definitely also kind of fell under some flack for being very, social justice warrior-y and have these heavy-handed political messages. I mean, it was definitely there, but it didn't bother me as much as this show did. Mainly because I really liked the characters, and Sister Night was cool, and Looking Glass was sick, but they also spent time with them. Like, they spent time developing those characters and they make you care about them. I didn't really give a shit about any of the characters other than Murray and Mindy. If you see the show, there's this older couple that's part of the hunters, and they are Holocaust survivors. And there is one episode sort of dedicated to them, and it's one of the best episodes other than the first episode. It's really great. And I was just like, it was an incredibly emotional episode, and I don't remember there being like any like heavy-handed political messages in that episode. And I'm like, this is what the show should constantly be like. Like it's these, older Jewish couple who survived the Holocaust but lost their son in the process, and it's like it's them dealing with that. And I thought that was incredibly emotional. Like having a whole episode dedicated on them, they are pretty much the emotional heart of the show. And they're the best parts of the show other than Al Pacino. So, yeah, like I thought there's a lot of great moments like that, that are very emotional. And I thought the flashback scenes are really great and very, effective. Because, I mean, again, it is kind of, it is a little bit cheap because it's like, of course, we're going to feel bad for these characters because they're being put in these absolutely horrific, like places and these horrific memories that they have. Like, of course, we're going to feel bad for them. So, I mean, it is a little bit a cheap way for us to care, but it's still effective, It's still effective, and I thought they should have kept doing that. So maybe in the second season, I would recommend keep on doing that. But, like, again, there's all these other characters like Roxy. I forget the Asian dude's name who was like he served in Vietnam. The other guy, the actor, like they don't really expand on them at all, other than like small tidbits, but like maybe like give them like actual episodes, like flash back a little bit to like when they became one of the hunters. Why did they become one? Sorry, excuse me. Burping a little bit. But yeah. So there's a lot of weird stuff, and again, like I don't want to watch a show basically telling me that I'm an awful person. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, yes, Operation Paperclip did happen. If you're unfamiliar with Operation Paperclip, it was an operation by I think it was like it was the CIA's operation where they took a bunch of Nazi scientists and engineers, and we took them in, and they helped us with our sciences, helped us get to the moon. That von Braun guy, apparently a real piece of shit, by the way. But yeah, they were all Nazis, but they helped us, and we decided to take them in. Other than killing them, Which, yes, Operation Paperclip does exist. It is fucked up when you first hear that. It's like, oh, we actually took in Nazis and they became U.S. citizens. Yeah, that is really fucked up. It's a fucked up concept, and they should point that out. But the main problem with having political undertones to your show, you can't be all one-sided. And that's what this show is. It is all one-sided. And you're probably saying oh, Michael, how can you not be all one-sided? Yeah, it's fucked up that we took in Nazis. Well, yeah, but I mean, what were the options? There's a scene in the show where it's one of those heavy-handed political, message where it's a flashback, and it's a flashback to a black and white movie, and the scene is a bunch of old white men in a circle discussing these Nazi refugees and whether or not what we should do with them, and they're all very cartoonish, and they're all oh, let's just take them in, who cares about the American public and all these Jews and what they did, they're gonna help us, and it is very cartoonish, and it's well, and then at the very end of the scene it's yes, that shit actually happened, and it's yeah, it did, but probably not exactly like that. It's not every, dude is that cartoonish, I'm sure. A lot of people were, maybe some were. I wasn't there, but I'm pretty sure neither were you. So let's all just kind of take a step back and be like, okay, well, what would happen if we didn't take them in? Okay, well, we could kill them and pretty much become just like them and just kill them and execute them or torture them and all whatever, which I thought would have been a more interesting concept that they would have delved into a little bit more with Jonah's character in this show. Instead of finding the Nazis and killing them, why don't we find them and expose them to the American public? I thought that was differencing in philosophies between Meyer's philosophy, let's just find these Nazis and kill them because that's the only way we can do that. And then Jonah kind of being on that side, but then also learning Meyer's ways are kind of fucked up and he's kind of becoming just like the people he's fighting. I like that concept a little bit more than just let's just find them and kill them because they're Nazis. But you're also doing this in source of revenge, which nothing really comes good with revenge. That's been explored in a bunch of different stories. So it should have been done here. So we could have killed all the Nazis, as through the Nuremberg trials. I think there was only 12 Nazis that were executed or something like that. It wasn't that many compared to how many there were. Or we could have done nothing, and they could have went to Russia, and they could have helped the Russians. And, at that time, Russia was kind of starting to become more of a problem. I'm pretty sure, General Patton, right after World War II ended, he was just let's just keep going. Let's take out these fucking communists because they're going to be a problem. And they kind of were. So he was kind of right, but also maybe a little bit too gung-ho about it. General Patton, one of fucking madman. But yeah, so we could have handed them to the Russians that had them, do whatever they would have wanted to do. Who knows? Who knows what would have happened? So there's those two options, or we could have just, we took them in and then they help us technologically, probably with medicine or some other bullshit, or help us get to the moon. So who knows? And they also kind of portray Nazis only helped us get to the moon. It's they probably helped us with a bunch of other shit too. German engineering, man, Mercedes aren't pretty nice. Let's just say that. But again, yeah, you shouldn't gloss over the fact that Operation Paperclip wasn't fucked up, but also maybe instead of having a cartoonish portrayal of all these white men having this discussion, maybe having a 12 Angry Men type of discussion where there's dissenting opinions and we all kind of oh, okay, this is kind of what happened, this is how we get to those decisions, this is how we made that fucked up decision. Yes, the decision was fucked up, but this is why we made it, instead of oh, we made the decision because we're white and we're racist. It's okay, sure, maybe it happened that way, but I don't think so. So yeah, hopefully the show. I'm probably not going to check out the second season. Again, just because I didn't like this show doesn't mean you wouldn't. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. I am a white male, so take that opinion, that fact as you will. And yeah, I just think the show could have been a lot better. And there's a lot of moments that are really great and very emotional and very interesting and very fun. It's a good show. I know it has a lot of. They try at humor. Some of the times it lands. Sometimes it's just kind of that was really random. That's kind of weird joke to make at this time. Okay, whatever. So yeah, it is what it is. It's definitely very political. If that's something that bothers you, maybe don't watch it. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm not going to tell you guys not to watch it because it's not terrible. It's not a fucking dog shit show. It's not. A lot of people will probably say that, but it's not. There's a decent amount here to like. There's also a decent amount here that you just completely hate. I will say for me, I kind of found it hard to get through, but I wanted to get through it because I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Like, if I wasn't doing this podcast, I probably would have stopped watching it after maybe the 4th episode. So, yeah. But it is what it is, you know? So, yeah. Hunters, watch it or not. I don't really give it too much of a shit, but there's my opinion on it. So, standing on it now. So, yeah, that was that. So, second topic that I want to be talking about is I watched that recent docuseries on Netflix called Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. And, wow. Yeah, it's about the investigations of the tragic death of an 8-year-old boy named Gabriel Fernandez, who endured horrific abuse from his mother and his mother's boyfriend, and who eventually passed away because of them. And it also deals with how the system pretty much failed the kid. So I will put. First off, it's really great. It's a really great documentary, and I'm gonna get into why. But like right off the bat, hard documentary to watch. It's very hard. I will even say that. I don't really get I do get disturbed because I do like, I like watching intense shit that make me kind of, I don't know, get disturbed, I guess. I don't want to say I like disturbing shit. I don't know, maybe that makes me sound like a fucking psycho. But yeah, I mean, the show, it deals with child abuse, and you see some pictures of how his body looked like at the hospital, and man, like I physically got angry while watching the documentary, and I almost guarantee if you have just a segment of a heart, you will too. So it's a mind-boggling documentary because it's just so insane. It's like, how the fuck does this happen? How does this happen? And we kind of go, they explore that in the docuseries. So, but like again, if you're uncomfortable with anything tragic dealing with children, like especially child abuse, physical child abuse, I would still recommend watching it, but just be heavily warned. Like if you like just have like a new child, like if you just had a kid, I don't know if this is really it for you. Because it's gonna heavily disturb you, and it's gonna like emotionally affect you. I mean, I don't have kids. Probably will be a long time before I do, but I got real. I was like, this is insane. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, some people in this world are just so fucked up. It's ridiculous. So let's just get into the documentary itself. Why is it so good? If it's so disturbing and it disturbed you so much, Mike, why are you loving it? Why are you recommending it? Well, I think it takes a really, really balanced approach. Pretty much basically the problems with Hunters that I was talking about, having it be a heavy-handed political message and it's very one-sided. This is really different. The trials of Gabriel Fernandez take a really balanced approach. They give you both sides of every story. They even try to like sort of humanize the mother and the boyfriend who did this to Gabriel for like a bit. They even try to, it's like, oh, well, the mother was, she was gang raped and had a rough childhood. And it's like, okay, I mean, that's really fucked up, but it gives you no fucking excuse for what you did to this boy. There's no excuse. Like, no, you're fucked. Fuck you. Like, I'm physically getting angry thinking about it again. But like, they tell the full story, and that's extremely important. That's a little bit more important to some other issues that they do come up. So, basically, the big story in this documentary is the Child Protective Services, like the social workers that were involved in Gabriel's case. Like it's not like no one knew this was going on with Gabriel, with the child. Like there was like, elementary school teacher saw it and called repeatedly about it. Other people called social services about it, and some people just like saw it and just didn't do anything about it. Or they decided, that they believed the mother. It's like, oh, the kid, fell off of his dirt bike or his bike, or he ran into the cabinet or bullshit or some shit, and then and there's fucking burn marks on his face, and there's fucking patches of hair that are gone, and it's like scabs on his head, and it's so fucked up. And it's like, how the fuck can you, like, this is fucking weird. Like, this is like, there's no way this could happen. And it's just negligence, and it goes over that, and it does kind of villainize the social workers, but it also kind of gives them a proper, side to the story, where it's just like, well, these social workers have like up to 30 cases, like 30 kids to look into and to investigate, and they're pretty much like detectives. They have to do detective work, but also, they're dealing with children and domestic violence, which is pretty awful. And there's a lot of conflicting emotions behind that, because none of these social workers want to take the kids away from the families. Like, no one wants to do that. And statistics prove that it's actually statistically not good for the child to be taken away from the parent. And the statistics say, they bring up in the documentary, like, children who are taken away from their parents statistically don't fare off as well as kids who stick with their parents, even if they are, subject to minor abuse. But I mean, obviously not in this case, when Gabriel Fernandez, the 8-year-old child, was like subjugated to actual torture and high child abuse, and he was, high risk for it. So yeah, he would have been a case where they would have had to take him away from the mother. God, Jesus. But yeah, again, they should kind of vilify these guys, because I mean, again, they're definitely they're obviously not solely responsible for Gabriel's death. They're not. That falls on the boyfriend and the mother. But they hold some of the responsibility, because they stood by and they did nothing about it. Even if they were overworked, even if, they don't want to take the children away, even if they were lied to repeatedly by the mother. But I mean, again, it's also your job to protect the kids, and you failed at that job. So, yeah. But I mean, it's a documentary where, like, after you watch it, it's definitely, it promotes discussion. It's not just like, it deals with even like, yes, it's bad to, torture 8-year-old children, obviously, and that's horrible, and it goes over that, how horrible it is. But the more moral discussions of it kind of deal with just like the system, and should these social workers be prosecuted for this? I mean, yes, they definitely should lose their jobs, but I mean, should they go to jail over it? That's kind of that's an interesting discussion to have, because they were very negligent, and the warning signs were there. People called about him. There was physical evidence of abuse right in front of you. Yeah, you definitely should lose your jobs, but should they go to jail over it? There was some complications with the boyfriend's trial, because he was being tried for like the capital punishment or the death penalty, and there's some like different wording in the laws where like premeditation had to be there, and it's a certain discussion of, they did call the police and they called the ambulance. So did they have intentions of killing Gabriel? I mean, my opinion is, you don't keep a fucking 8-year-old child in a cabinet and repeatedly beat him and torture him and feed him cat litter if you weren't planning on inevitably killing the child. So yeah, probably, should get the death penalty. But I mean, again, Also, it's like, fucking let him rot in prison. Maybe the death penalty is too, too merciful for this fucking piece of shit because, yeah. And they also, again, it's very weird because they also bring people in, past employers of the boyfriend who say he was like pretty much like a lovable bear, like a lovable, lovable dude who's a great worker and stuff like that. And it's like, this is weird. Like, this is crazy. Like, he fucking beat and tortured an 8-year-old boy, though. Like, this is fucked. And they also, like, bring up a really cool point in the documentary about, like, using statistical analysis for social services and maybe, like, putting in characteristics of the child, their domestic situation, where they live, and all that stuff. And it, like, spits out how, like, their risk of abuse, like, a probability. And they're like, again, you have to praise the filmmaker. What was it? Brian Knappenberger? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but again, the interviewer, when he would interview these people, like, kind of who want to push this, analytical side of social work, like, forward, and like answers, like, he asked a perfect question because I was thinking of it like right off the bat, and just like, well, I mean, if you're dealing with statistical analysis, like, that's probably going to discriminate against minority communities. So I mean, that's sort of a point that like, these are human beings and there has to be a human element to it, and you can't just like, take parents' kids away, strictly based off of some analytical and, some statistical analysis saying that their kid might be high risk, of abuse, or, a poor environment to live in. You can't really just do that. And the documentary points that out. It's, again, I love the way it approaches every issue that it's brought up, and also just sheds the light on just, like, the social protective system in America or in that location. I'm pretty sure it was in I want to say it was in California or like Florida or something. I forget exactly. Excuse me. I'm pretty sure it was California, but yeah, it was definitely very, very interesting. It's a very incredibly well done docuseries. I think there's 6 episodes. Each episode's around an hour long, so it's not a very high commitment. It's a limited series, so it's not going to be ongoing. I think it's definitely one of the better documentaries on Netflix. Again, really hard to watch, especially if you have kids. I'm sure it's harder to watch it if you have kids rather than not have kids. I'm sure like it wasn't easy for me to watch, and I don't have children. So I can't imagine if you do and watching this, it will make you physically angry. It will make you like, I can't believe, like, almost like I can't watch this. This isn't a bad documentary, but like, this is heavily disturbing. And yeah, I mean, they do. I mean, they don't show you much. They don't they don't show you much of Gabriel's body. They mainly show like sort of like sketches of like what like of the like not the actual physical pictures of the injuries, other than maybe a couple that are like really quick, but it's enough to stick in your mind, and you're like, holy shit, that's fucked. But yeah, again, yeah, one of the better documentaries. I mean, I would even like kind of sort of criticize some of the bigger documentaries on Netflix, even though they are really good, such as like Making a Murderer, The Keepers, stuff like that, where like both of those documentaries are pretty one-sided. They pretty much are. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not really sure, But I mean, again, there's also like Making a Murderer is probably the biggest one. I think it was one of the first ones that kind of started this trend. I'm not sure if someone wants to check me on that, but yeah, the main guy, Steve Avery. I mean, the dude did also, threw a cat in the fire just because he wanted to. Like, that's kind of fucked up. I don't believe you do that, and if you're, not, a psycho a little bit. I mean, like, it's kind of fucked up. Like, I'm not a huge fan of cats, but I'm not like, throwing them into a fire. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, also what happened to him, like being falsely accused of rape and being jailed for 17 years is awful. So yeah, again, But again, it's a very one-sided documentary, and it's not like it here when it totally could have been. It totally could be like, vilify these social workers that let this happen to Gabriel. Don't tell their side of the story. I mean, the only times it's one-sided is when, people refuse to be interviewed by the documentary, and they probably should have been. They probably should have talked to the documentarian and, the interviewers of this docuseries, because I feel like it would have showed their perspective on it and not really twist anything like a lot of these docuseries, probably do. I just, I really respect the, I don't want to say storytelling, but like the way it was made. I really respect how much it really gave a shit about the situation and the issues that were brought up in the series. So check it out. I mean, again, if child abuse is kind of a touchy issue for you, maybe stay clear of it. Maybe don't. But I mean, again, I think it's a very eye-opening it's a very eye-opening documentary, and it really just opens really makes you be better in that, like, if you see something that is wrong, do something about it. Don't just, assume that someone else will take care of it. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I forget where this happened, but, I think it was like an apartment building. I don't know. I'm not going to even bring it up because I'm not completely sure about it. But like, if you see something wrong, do something about it. Don't just let it go and assume that something will come, someone will come and fix it, because most of the time no one's coming and no one's helping, especially if it's your job. So yeah, do that. So yeah. Check it out. So, final topic of the episode. We're talking a film that I recently saw called The Invisible Man. Yeah, that's right. Recent release. Came out when? February 28th. So, a couple weeks ago. It's definitely, it's an older release, but, I got to it eventually. So, yeah, let's go over it. It's a remake of a previous film called The Invisible Man, which I think came out a long, long time ago. But a synopsis of the film is, when Cecilia's abusive ex takes his own life and leaves her his fortune, she suspects his death was a hoax. As a series of coincidences turn lethal, Cecilia works to prove that she is being hunted by someone nobody can see. So yeah. It stars, what's her face? Chick from Mad Men. Elizabeth Moss, that's her name. She is, I'm a fan of hers. I will say this outright. I love Elizabeth Moss. She's phenomenal. She's an amazing actress. I love her. She's awesome, and she does not disappoint in this film. She is phenomenal. So yeah, I also remember the trailer coming out, and I remember seeing the trailer at other movie releases, and I remember thinking like, man, that movie looks bad. Like, that movie looks terrible. And maybe that says something about me. Maybe I'm just like a fucking piece of shit who hates on everything. But I just think trailers nowadays are just kind of sucking. I felt like the trailer gave away a lot of stuff. So maybe stay away from the trailer if you haven't seen it. But I would just kind of recommend that for everything. I would just watch Nerd Out Sanctuary. I'll give you my opinions on shit, and then you can watch them. And you won't get spoiled about any scenes or any scares that you would have. So yeah, by the way, this is, I would say it's more of a thriller than a horror. But I mean, I guess it gets put in the classification genre of horror. But yeah, so... yeah, I think the trailer definitely did this film a disservice, because I thought the film was really good. It's a really good film. It's strong. It's a strong, fun time at the movies. And I just realized something right before I started recording this episode. The director and writer on the film was Leigh Whannell, who, if you don't know him, he actually starred in the very first Saw movie. He was one of the two guys in that room. He was the dude in the white shirt who was like handcuffed to the pipes. But yeah, he wrote and directed Upgrade, and he also worked in Insidious, and he worked heavily with James Wan. So yeah, I never saw Upgrade, but I heard nothing but good things about it, and I should watch it. I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu, so maybe I'll watch it tonight. Who knows? But I'm definitely more motivated to watch it because I thought this film was sick. I mean, is it perfect? No. Is it sort of predictable? Kinda. But I mean, is it a masterpiece? No. But like, is it a really fun horror thriller that's cool and well acted and well directed and has very interesting filmmaking used in it? Absolutely. I mean, I just love some of the things that I loved about it. One, the sound design is really cool. Well, not maybe the sound design, just the way sound was utilized, how it makes everything so quiet. I thought was really cool because it gives you an uneasy feeling, and also the way Winnell uses the shots where, you know, he like kind of like it follows the main character. It follows like Elizabeth Moss's character, in the frame, and then it like lingers on. It just like sits still on one particular shot, and then Elizabeth Moss like, you know, moves out of the frame, in and out of the frame, and it's just still on the one. Just lingers on this one shot. And when there's not even anything there, and it gives you this like, I'm sorry, I kind of got distracted, but it's like, oh, is something there? I think something's there. Something might be there, and obviously it's, you know, something invisible that you can't see is there, but it adds this sort of, it's unsettling, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, I love the way he used the camera, and used the shots to raise the tension level, to make it very suspenseful, just like, oh, is something going to happen? And eventually something does happen. So, obviously, or, you know, it would be kind of a lame-ass movie. But, yeah, so it was something that was really interesting and really cool that I loved. It was really cool. So, yeah, other than that, I mean, there's not really too much to really get into, other than if you want to spoil some stuff, which I'm not going to. There's definitely there's some twists and turns. There's some things that I didn't expect to happen. But, I mean, yeah, there are also some stuff that's just like, okay, I kind of saw that coming. But I mean, it doesn't mean if I saw it coming, doesn't mean you'll see it coming. So, yeah, you know, there's definitely some very intense scenes. So if you want some really intense, thrilling, like sort of scary film to go see, definitely check out The Invisible Man. Does it have the movie magic? Does it have Mikey's movie magic though? Yeah, I would say it does. I would compare this sort of, I mean, it's not the same film by any means, but earlier this year, Underwater, that I reviewed in one of my earlier episodes, I would say it definitely kind of falls like pretty close to that, how much I liked it. I mean, those two films are just a really good time at the movies, and it's just really fun, solid, well-made, well-acted thrillers that are like, oh, you know what, like, that like kind of like catch you off guard how good they are. You know, it's one of those. It's one of those movies where like you're gonna like check out, you know, while you're like scrolling through Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or wherever the fuck you stream on, and you're like, oh, that kind of looks interesting, and then you just kind of give it a shot, and then you're like, wow, man, that was really good. I mean, it's one of those. You know, it's a film that catches you really off guard of how good it is. I mean, it caught me off guard because I saw the trailer and was like, oh, it looks pretty shitty, and I was, you know, really glad to find out that it wasn't. So, yeah, I would definitely say it entertains, good time, go see it, give it your money. It deserves it, and I'm definitely going to be following Leigh Whannell's career a little bit more now because I hear Upgrade is great. Gonna be checking that out maybe tonight. I don't know, some other time. If it's on any streaming service, I'll look for it. I'll probably wait, but we'll see. But yeah, between this, Upgrade, his work on Insidious, and I'm pretty sure The Conjuring a little bit too. I might be talking on my ass, and you know, other shit that he's done. I'm definitely gonna be checking him out a little bit more. So yeah, with that, I mean, that's pretty much the episode, guys. That's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about with you guys. So where are we on time? I kind of want to see how... Okay, we're at like a fucking hour. All right, okay. Definitely good length. We hit the mark, guys. Well done. I wasn't even looking too much in my notes, and I fucking typed all this 1,000-word note sheet for fucking nothing. Whatever. But, yeah. With that, guys, we'll leave you with my episodic message that I do at the end of every one of my episodes, and it's the fact that, it's okay to not be okay. If you're having a hard time, having a rough time, we've all been there, or we are all there. I'm gonna be fucking going on night shift and, dealing with a construction site and being on the fucking PA turnpike, trying not to get fucking run over by a tractor trailer or a fucking skid steer. That's a story for another time. But, yeah, I've been there, having being on hard times, but, the message is, it doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. It doesn't mean that shit's always going to be terrible. Tomorrow's a new day. Just because today sucks doesn't mean tomorrow's going to suck. Take all that bad shit and try to turn it into a positive. I know it's really hard, especially when you're in it. It's really hard to look at something fucking terrible and view it in a positive light and take that negative energy and turning it into positive energy. But, doing that makes you a better person, and getting through those really harsh times make you a better person. And yeah, so, it's just if you're feeling down, just know that it's okay, and that I'm here, watch me. I'm going to be with you. Comment below if you want to, message me or whatever. I mean, I don't think you can message me. I don't think there's a way you can. Maybe I should start putting like my email down in the description, but we'll see. We'll see about that. But yeah, stick around. Again, these episodes might be a little bit sparse in the future because of my work schedule, but I'm definitely going to be trying to put them out here, because I love doing it. I love doing this. I love talking movies. I love talking TV, comic books, video games, anything nerd-like. That's, it's the title of the show, Nerd Out Sanctuary. But, yeah. I just want to say I love all you guys. I appreciate everything, you're doing, watching me. If you don't know, if you forget, I'm on my podcasts are on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. But I'm also on, this is also a video podcast, which is on YouTube. So, yeah. With that, guys, thanks for checking out, listening to me bullshit about this TV show, docuseries, and film. So, with that, I'll see you guys on the next episode of Nerd Out Sanctuary. Ka-chow!